Hello, welcome back to Tea Story. In my last video, I introduced a white winter tea from China called Yabao or Elder White. If you missed that video and you want to find out more about that tea, then I recommend going back and looking at it afterwards. But this week in London, it's really felt like the beginning of spring, and birds have been singing, there have been buds on trees, the sun has felt a little bit warm. And so I've decided to introduce a spring tea. And the one I've chosen to introduce is a Nepali spring tea from the Jun Chiyabari tea estate, and it's called Nepali Spring. The Jun Chiyabari tea estate is a relatively new one. It was set up in the year 2000, and according to its website, the founder's mission was to do things their way and to support and empower the local area. And they do that by supporting education, particularly for young daughters in the villages, and supporting other income generation schemes and the elderly in that area. But now, onto the tea. So, Jun Chiyabari Nepali Spring is a black tea, and I bought this on the strength of the description and to try something new. But the first time I made it, I did overbrew it, and I was left with quite a bitter and astringent liquid with the smell of esters and chemistry lessons. I did give it another go, and for that I was really rewarded, and it's now a regular tea for me, and I have it at work, and I often drink it during the week. Not only is the brewing complex, but the tea itself is complex. This one that I bought was described as a black tea, and it does have a lot in common with a first flush Darjeeling. But I was at a friend's house recently, and they had the exact same tea, and it was labelled as an oolong tea. So I looked into it some more, and it's not fully oxidised. So some people might describe this as a black tea that's not fully oxidised, and others might say it's strictly an oolong tea. And I would be interested to find out what your opinion on that is in the comments below. The leaves of the Jun Chiyabari are a variety of colours, different shades of green. The buds are slightly paler, slightly silverier green and covered in down. Let me get one out for you. Oh dear, there's one. See, a much paler, much more silverier colour. And the leaves are twisted and somewhat darker, more like an olive green. In amongst it all, there are some more golden browns and some more greeny yellows. And it's a very attractive tea. You can tell there are a lot of buds in there. The smell of the leaves is very fresh, a bit like an orchard with apples in it. And it does smell very springy. So to brew this tea, you want to use water that's just below boiling point, so around 95 degrees. And I recommend not brewing it too long. One package that I have recommends 2 to 3 minutes, and another that I've seen recommends 1. And I would say that 1 is probably on the high end of how long I would like to brew this tea for. I'd recommend trying it, if you buy it, at a few different lengths of brew to determine which one appeals to your sense of flavour the most. So I've made the first brew with this tea, and it's come out really nicely. It's come out quite a pale straw colour, a bit yellower than pine wood. And the wet leaves have turned a lovely, much brighter green colour. And they've got a surprising kind of brassica smell, quite vegetably. The liquor is not completely clear. So it does have a very gentle taste. There's a real mineral flavour to it. That's probably the most underlying flavour. And then on top of that, it's got vegetable flavours of artichoke and slightly fruitier flavours like apple and pear. The brew is a little bit astringent, but an amount that I think is nice to drink. It's not particularly sweet, it's not particularly woody, but there are a few grassy notes in there too. The aftertaste is a little bit sweeter than the tea itself, and while drinking the tea there is quite a velvety feel to it. This is the second brew of the Nepali Spring. It's come out quite a similar colour, maybe slightly paler, and the smell now is not quite as strong, but the taste is also really good. The mineral flavours have come out much more strongly, and the astringency and the fruity flavours are a little bit weaker. So I think that if you are not a very big fan of astringent tea, you might still really like the second brew of this tea and subsequent brews. Personally, I really like both, and my overall impression of this tea is that it's very good, it's very unusual, and I do drink this regularly, especially at work. I bought this tea last year from Canton Tea Co. in the UK, and as far as I can tell, it's only still available on Rare Earth Tea, which is from the US. But it is spring, and so I'm sure we can look forward to the next batch of Jun Chiyabari Nepali Spring coming out soon this year. When it is available, I'll try and let you know. If you like this video and you want to taste more tea with me, then do subscribe to Tea Story and like and share this video. If you have opinions on whether this should be an oolong tea or a black tea, or what you think about it, then I'd be interested to hear what they are or have a discussion in the comments below. Thanks very much and see you next time. Bye!